and welcome to today's morning report charts appraisals on Friday the 10th of November with me, Rich Perry, market analyst at Hantec Markets. Basically, you've got a dollar that's flat today. It's sort of stabilised as the Treasury yield has, the 10-year Treasury bounced off 2.3%. Very interesting. I'm sort of taking 2.3 to 2.4 as sort of a key range, really. Basically, the market has sort of flitted around these two levels consistently in recent months. And a sharp rally has helped to stabilise the dollar, which came under pressure yesterday as the expectations of tax reform in the States continue to dwindle. You've got the Senate or the GOP in the Senate that's now sort of proposing that the corporate tax cut is going to be delayed by 12 months, and that's sort of hitting sentiment. And you look at equity markets, for example, sharply lower in Europe today, but generally speaking, Wall Street initially sharply lower, but then bounced into the close. Actually, the S&P 500 survived fairly well, but you look at the selling pressure continues on European markets today. Asian markets overnight were also lower, but you can see the European markets again lower after being sharply lower yesterday. And this correction that we're seeing continues. But Forex basically consolidating, as I said, that dollar has sort of stabilised a bit overnight. Very little direction on any of the major pairs, and also that's happening in the gold price as well, which is basically flat on the day, as is silver. So little real move in the direct sort of dollar related plays, but equity markets are continuing this correction nonetheless. Now, in terms of what we got outlook for today, we've got Brexit negotiations which are continuing. That is clearly going to have an impact on sterling. At the moment, sterling has sort of rebounded a little bit. You've had the industrial production for sterling better than expected, which has helped to sort of stabilise sterling a little bit today. Very, very slightly better than expected on industrial and also manufacturing output for the year. And this afternoon, the sentiment is going to be driven to an extent, I suppose, by Michigan sentiment this afternoon. Very slight sort of stabilisation or tick higher, you could argue. 100.7 is mildly, basically in line with last month, which got revised down to 100.7, depending on where you get your estimates from. 100.7 is the estimate at 3 o'clock today. But generally speaking, this is sort of another sort of quiet day to close a very quiet week on economic data points to drive sentiment. But my chart of the day is the DAX, and what we saw is a sharp move lower. That's 3 bear candles in a row on the DAX cash. Bearish engulfing or key one-day reversal we saw on Tuesday, and a sharp move to the downside. And we're seeing further losses today. Certainly seems as though this corrective move on the DAX is sort of gathering momentum. Look at the RSI, 52. Hadn't been below 60 for almost 2 months. But it is certainly gathering momentum to the downside. MACD lines crossing lower, stochastics accelerating lower as well. It certainly looks like the market is breaking that uptrend. And also the 21-day moving, the 21-day moving average, which was a basis of support in the last correction, seems to be breaking as well. So pressure is mounting to the upside, to the downside. Sorry. Now a retreat to this old range, 12.910 to 13.9095, seems to be on. You've broken below the initial support, 13.197. You've got a basis, I suppose, of resistance overhead now from yesterday's low, 13.175, but generally speaking, the market is sort of dropping away. Momentum indicators on the hourly also suggesting any sort of rallies are being sold into now. Negative configuration on the hourly RSI, negative configuration on the hourly MACD lines. Look at those MACD lines, which sort of the lowest since the big rally began. It looks certainly as though the market is now corrective, so rallies are now a chance to sell, I think, on the DAX, and you've got this sort of resistance band, as I said, 13.175, but generally speaking between sort of 13.197 up towards 13.250 area, being the resistance overhead. So rallies are a chance to sell on the DAX, and it looks like a correction is sort of forming. So I wish you good luck in your trading today, and I'll speak to you later. Thank you.